Welcome to our exploration of the European Renaissance, a transformative era that reshaped art, science, and society. We'll journey through the lives of artisans, the struggles of outsiders, and the pivotal roles of women, uncovering the rich tapestry of Renaissance Italy. From the dynamics of love and marriage to the workings of the judicial system, we'll dive deep into the social structures and cultural innovations that defined this period. Get ready to discover the stories and forces that propelled Europe into the modern age. Welcome aboard. In Renaissance Italy, the commoners included artisans, servants, slaves, prostitutes, and other marginalized individuals. Artisans were the backbone of the economy, crafting goods and artworks within guild-regulated trades. Servants kept the households of the wealthy running, while slaves, though less common, served in various domestic roles. Prostitutes and other outsiders faced marginalization, but were integral to urban life, with prostitution regulated by cities. Together, these groups formed the fabric of society, contributing to the economic, cultural, and social dynamics of the era, even as their stories often go untold in the grand narratives of the Renaissance. Artisans were the heartbeat of Renaissance economies, embodying the skilled labor force that crafted items ranging from everyday necessities to luxurious goods. This group included a diverse array of professions such as goldsmiths, who created intricate jewelry and decorative items, carpenters, who were essential in both construction and the creation of fine furniture, and butchers, who provided a critical service in food preparation and distribution. The organization of these skilled workers into guilds was a defining feature of artisan culture. These guilds not only regulated the quality of craftsmanship and the training of apprentices, but also offered their members a degree of political representation. This gave artisans a voice in the civic matters of their cities, reflecting their importance in urban life. Artisans occupied a middling-class position, not wealthy, but with a level of security and social mobility that distinguished them from lower classes. Their economic and social status was further supported by the integral role of artisans' wives in the business. These women often worked alongside their husbands, not just in supportive roles, but as skilled workers in their own right. They managed financial accounts, organized supplies, tended shops, and sometimes took over the business when their husbands were away. This partnership was crucial to the success of artisan enterprises, highlighting the collaborative nature of work and family life during the Renaissance. In Renaissance Italy, servants were ubiquitous in various households, from the modest to the magnificent, performing tasks essential to the daily functioning of a home. Beyond the role of servants, slavery also persisted, particularly noticeable in the bustling Mediterranean port cities. A significant source of these slaves was Eastern Europe, with the Dalmatian coast noted for the trafficking of individuals into Italian servitude. The unfortunate reality for many female servants and slaves was the risk of sexual assault, a grim aspect of their vulnerability within these roles. This abuse was not only a violation of their personhood, but also led to complex situations, such as pregnancy, which further complicated their already precarious positions in society. When a servant or slave became pregnant, their fate was largely at the mercy of their masters. Some might face dismissal, thrusting them into dire straits without support or means, while others could be forced to remain, their child entering the cycle of servitude or slavery. In rarer cases, a sense of responsibility might lead a master to provide for the child, though this was far from the norm. These pregnancies highlight the harsh realities faced by women at the lower rungs of the social ladder during the Renaissance, underscoring the era's complex interplay of power, vulnerability, and human resilience. Prostitution during the Renaissance was not merely a facet of societal underbelly, it was a legally recognized and often regulated profession. Women engaged in prostitution frequently found themselves outside the traditional structures of patriarchal protection, either by circumstance or choice. This lack of a male guardian meant both vulnerability and, paradoxically, a form of independence. Courtesans stood at the apex of the prostitution hierarchy. Unlike their counterparts, courtesans were upscale, cultured women who could engage in witty conversation and had access to the higher echelons of society. They were educated, some even embracing the principles of humanism, and could often read and write, making them companions for the intellectual as well as the physical appetites of their clients. Veronica Franco, c. 1546–91, is a prime example of such a courtesan. Not only was she renowned for her beauty and wit, but she was also a published poet and an intellectual, engaging with the humanist ideas of her time. Despite her success and societal standing, Franco's writings reveal the darker aspects of the profession, highlighting the physical and emotional toll it took on those within it. Her poignant reflection on the hardships faced by women in prostitution — what riches, what comforts, what delights can possibly outweigh all this? — speaks volumes about the reality behind the veneer of glamour often associated with courtesans. Franco's critique underscores a deep understanding of the profession's perils, from disease and violence to the constant threat of social and financial ruin, marking her as a keen observer of the human condition within the constraints of her era. The Renaissance, often celebrated for its advancements in art, culture, and thought, also had its dark facets, one of which was the treatment of outsiders, such as the Jewish community. Anti-Semitism was prevalent in Renaissance Italy, manifesting in various forms from social exclusion to violent acts. Blood libel, a pernicious myth accusing Jews of using Christian children's blood in religious rituals, was a common accusation that fueled anti-Semitic sentiment and led to numerous pogroms, organized massacres or persecutions of the Jewish community. One of the most notorious cases was the tragedy of Simon of Trent in 1475, where the disappearance of a Christian boy led to the torture, trial, and execution of the city's Jewish population based on unfounded accusations of ritual murder. This period also saw the development of the ghetto, a segregated and enclosed quarter where Jews were compelled to live. The first ghetto was established in Venice in 1516, with others soon following in major Italian cities. Despite the restrictions and hardships, these neighborhoods fostered a sense of community and cultural identity among the Jewish population. Despite these adversities, the Jewish community made significant contributions to the Renaissance, particularly in the fields of medicine, finance, philosophy, and scholarship. They were instrumental in the revival of classical texts, acting as translators and intermediaries between the Arabic and Christian worlds. Jewish financiers also played a crucial role in supporting the economy and the patronage systems that fueled the Renaissance's artistic and architectural achievements. The complex legacy of the Jewish experience in Renaissance Italy illustrates a juxtaposition of remarkable resilience and creativity against a backdrop of systemic persecution and exclusion. Their contributions, often overlooked, were integral to the cultural and intellectual flourishing of the period. In the quest for unity and stability during the Renaissance, cities employed various strategies that intertwined social, cultural, and legal practices. Two significant methods were the use of civic rituals and the imposition of sumptuary laws. Civic rituals played a crucial role in fostering a sense of community and shared identity among the inhabitants of Renaissance cities. These rituals ranged from public celebrations of patron saints' days to elaborate processions, tournaments, and civic ceremonies that marked important civic events and transitions. By participating in these collective activities, citizens were reminded of their shared values, histories, and allegiances, reinforcing social cohesion and a sense of belonging to a larger community. Sumptuary laws, on the other hand, regulated the extravagance of personal appearance, including the types of clothing, jewelry, and other luxury items that could be worn, often based on one's social status or gender. These laws were intended to maintain social order by clearly demarcating social hierarchies, preventing the ostentatious display of wealth that could lead to envy and social unrest. Additionally, sumptuary laws were aimed at promoting economic stability by curbing excessive spending on imported luxury goods, thereby encouraging citizens to live within their means. Together, civic rituals and sumptuary laws served as tools for cities to cultivate a harmonious social fabric, delineate social structures, and foster a collective identity. Through these practices, Renaissance cities sought to balance the celebration of individual and communal achievements with the maintenance of social order and economic prudence. Renaissance households were intimate communities, typically comprising around 4.42 individuals. This era, characterized by high birth rates and equally high infant mortality rates, where 25% to 50% of infants did not survive, reflects the harsh realities of life during this period. families frequently had many children, both as a result of the lack of effective birth control and as a strategy to ensure that some would survive to adulthood and support their parents in old age. By the age of 8 to 12, children from larger families or those in economic distress might be sent to live elsewhere, a practice rooted in necessity rather than desire. Some children were apprenticed to learn a trade, while others served in wealthier households, providing an extra pair of hands in exchange for food, shelter, and, occasionally, education or vocational training. The foundation of most Renaissance households was the married couple, around which the structure and organization of domestic life revolved. Artisan families, in particular, lived in a manner that blurred the lines between work and home life. Their dwellings were typically modest, consisting of 1 to 2 rooms with a workshop located at the front, visible and accessible to the public. The sparse furnishings often included a table, stools, basic cooking utensils, and a bed, reflecting the era's lack of material possessions compared to modern standards. This simplicity in living arrangements and the scarcity of personal possessions highlight a lifestyle that was fundamentally different from today's. It underscores the direct relationship between work and home life in artisan families, where the household not only served as a place of residence, but also as the center of economic activity. Despite the challenges of high infant mortality and the necessity of integrating children into the workforce or sending them away at a young age, these households were resilient units of social and economic organization long before the dawn of the Industrial Revolution and the age of mass production. During the Renaissance, evolving household designs began to include separate bedrooms and dining areas, marking a shift in domestic life. These architectural changes fostered new behaviors and dynamics within the home. The introduction of bedrooms offered a private space, nurturing a sense of intimacy previously unknown, while dedicated dining areas created environments for more structured social interactions. These spaces encouraged lively conversations and formalized socialization, reflecting broader societal shifts towards individuality and the importance of personal relationships. This architectural evolution thus mirrored and influenced the changing fabric of Renaissance society, emphasizing privacy, family bonds, and the art of conversation. The Renaissance household was predominantly patriarchal, with fathers or senior male figures at the helm, focusing on protecting or expanding their wealth. For less affluent families, mere subsistence was the primary concern. Within this structure, wives played crucial roles, contributing to the household's work and economy, and were essential for the family's survival. Upon a wife's death, it was common for men to remarry, reflecting the practicality governing marital decisions more than romantic sentiments. Daughters faced limited choices: marriage or the convent. Arcangela Tarabati, 1604 to 1652, an unwilling nun, criticized the coercion young women often faced from their families to join religious life, highlighting the lack of genuine vocation among many nuns due to this pressure. Despite the constraints of the patriarchal system, there were instances of deep affection and close relationships between fathers and daughters. The relationship between Galileo and his daughter, as explored in Davis Sobel's Galileo's Daughter, provides a poignant example of such a bond, offering insight into the complexities of family life and the varied experiences of women during the Renaissance. In Renaissance society, the dowry system was central to a woman's transition from her birth family to marriage, embodying the transfer of wealth. A dowry could include cash, jewels, clothing, linens, textiles, and luxury goods, essentially intended to support the woman's new life and sometimes to entice a more desirable match. However, women were not seen as permanent members of their husband's household, underscored by the tornata, the right to return to her father's home if widowed, emphasizing the temporary nature of her place in the marital home. Over time, the inflation of dowry values exacerbated the challenges faced by families in marrying off their daughters. As dowries became increasingly burdensome, more women found themselves directed towards convents, not out of vocation, but economic necessity. Arcangela Tarabati, herself an unwilling nun, critiqued this practice sharply. She accused men of using the convent as a means to avoid financial responsibility for their daughters, freeing up resources for personal indulgence and immoral activities. Tarabati's commentary illuminates the stark realities of gender dynamics and economic pressures in Renaissance Italy, highlighting the limited agency women had over their lives and the societal structures that reinforced their subordination. Microhistory is a methodology within historical research that emphasizes a smaller, more detailed scale of study. It allows historians to delve deeply into the lives of individuals, specific communities, or singular events, contrasting with broader, sweeping historical narratives or large-scale data analyses. This approach seeks to uncover the complexities and nuances often overlooked in grand narratives, providing a richer, more textured understanding of the past. Microhistorians employ a detective-like strategy in their research, meticulously following clues through historical texts and archives. They piece together hidden connections and reconstruct the social networks surrounding their subjects. This process involves not only a deep dive into the specific focus of study, but also building a comprehensive context around it to appreciate its significance fully. Often, microhistorians turn their attention to figures or events that have been neglected or previously unknown in the historical record. They argue that these overlooked subjects can be significant agents of change, challenging existing narratives and broadening our understanding of history. Through this lens, the microhistorical approach democratizes history, giving voice to those who have been marginalized in conventional historical accounts. The findings of microhistorical research are typically presented in creative narrative styles, making the past accessible and engaging to both academic and general audiences. By weaving compelling stories that highlight the agency and complexity of their subjects, microhistorians not only contribute to our understanding of the past, but also illustrate the relevance of history to contemporary issues and debates. This approach underscores the value of examining history at a micro level, where the seemingly small and insignificant can shed light on larger historical processes and phenomena. Jean Brooker, in the preface to Giovanni and Lusanna, provides a distinct insight into microhistory, emphasizing its focus on the detailed study of specific individuals, events, or communities within a broader historical context. Brooker's work is a classic example of microhistory, as it zooms in on the love affair between Giovanni and Lusanna in Renaissance Florence to explore broader themes of social structure, gender, and power dynamics of the time. Brooker defines microhistory as an approach that narrows the historical lens, allowing for an intensive examination of the intricacies and nuances of the past that are often overshadowed in grand historical narratives. This method brings into sharp relief the experiences of ordinary people, revealing how their lives reflect and contribute to broader societal trends and transformations. In terms of sources, Brooker relies heavily on judicial and notarial records, which provide a rich tapestry of information for reconstructing the lives of individuals like Giovanni and Lusanna. These documents offer a glimpse into the personal, legal, and social dimensions of their world, allowing Brooker to piece together a narrative that is both intimate and historically significant. Through such sources, Brooker demonstrates the power of microhistory to illuminate the complexities of human relationships and societal norms, drawing on specific cases to shed light on the larger historical landscape. Jean Brooker's definition of microhistory emphasizes the focused examination of a single event, individual, or community to explore broader historical processes and contexts. In Giovanni and Lusanna, Brooker narrows his lens to a particular legal battle in Renaissance Florence, using it as a window into the larger societal structures and cultural norms of the time. This approach allows for a detailed reconstruction of social networks, personal relationships, and the lived experiences of the people involved, offering insights into aspects of history that broader narratives might overlook. Brooker primarily relies on a rich array of primary sources to inform his microhistorical analysis. These include legal documents, court records, personal letters, and other contemporary texts that provide direct insight into the lives of Giovanni, Lusanna, and their community. Through these sources, Brooker can piece together a detailed narrative that sheds light on the complexities of social status, gender relations, and the legal frameworks governing personal relationships in Renaissance Italy. In Giovanni and Lusanna, the focus on a contested marriage case serves as a foundation to explore several key themes relevant to understanding the private lives of individuals during the Renaissance. Women's experiences. The case provides a platform to question whether the Renaissance, often celebrated for its cultural and intellectual advancements, offered any significant improvements in the status and agency of women. Love and marriage. The story examines the intersections of personal affection, social expectations, and legal obligations in shaping matrimonial bonds, offering insights into the notions of love and partnership during the period. The judicial system. By delving into a legal dispute, Brooker highlights the functioning of the judicial system, including its biases, procedures, and the role of public opinion in influencing legal outcomes. Families. The narrative explores family dynamics, including the strategic considerations behind marriage alliances and the impact of personal relationships on family honor and social standing. Sexuality. Through the lens of Giovanni and Lusanna's relationship, the book touches upon the attitudes towards sexuality, the regulation of sexual behavior, and the consequences of sexual transgressions. By utilizing the microhistory of Giovanni and Lusanna, Brooker not only tells the story of two individuals, but also invites a deeper consideration of the fabric of Renaissance society, revealing the complexities of life beneath the grand historical narratives. Microhistory and biography differ fundamentally in their approach, purpose, and narrative focus. Biography centers on the detailed life story of an individual, emphasizing their unique contributions and significance in history. It operates on the belief in the distinctiveness of its subject, aiming to understand and celebrate their life and impact. Biographers often form a deep, intimate connection with their subjects, narratively aligning with them as they recount their life's events. Conversely, microhistory looks beyond the individual to explore broader cultural and societal dynamics through the lens of a person's life, an event, or a community. It values the examination of lives not necessarily for their singularity, but for what they can reveal about the wider context in which they existed. Microhistorians delve into the minutiae of historical records, often focusing on individuals who might not have left extensive documentation to uncover insights about the cultural and social fabric of the time. They tend to solve small mysteries, using these inquiries as windows into understanding larger societal norms and practices. Additionally, while biographers may struggle with the ethical implications of their closeness to their subjects, microhistorians typically operate at a remove, sometimes even inserting themselves into the narrative as characters to facilitate the exploration of their subjects' worlds. This methodological difference allows microhistorians to resurrect the stories of those who might otherwise remain on the periphery of historical narratives, offering a unique perspective that challenges and enriches our understanding of the past. As our journey through the Renaissance concludes, we've traversed the intricate lives of artisans, navigated the experiences of marginalized outsiders, and celebrated the influential roles of women. We've delved into love, marriage, and the judicial intricacies of the time, gaining insights into the societal fabric of Renaissance Italy. This exploration has illuminated the profound transformations in art, science, and culture that heralded the dawn of the modern era. Thank you for joining us on this enlightening voyage through history.